Hi, how you doing, everybody? This is a short lesson on adding and subtracting fractions. Okay, so if I put a whole bunch of fractions up there, and they all have the same denominator, a common denominator, that's good, because now all I have to worry about is just the numerators and the signs. The number one thing that I have to have when adding and subtracting fractions is that same or common denominator. So now I'm just going to worry about the top part and their signs. So I'm looking at really just this part of the fractions. So the 3 plus 5 minus 1. So I'm looking at 3 plus 5 minus 1. Now the 3 is positive. To the left of it, there's no sign, so that means positive. And then just like my integer rules, a positive 3, a positive 5 is positive 8 minus 1. When the signs are different, subtract, take the sign of larger, so I got positive 7. So this is going to be positive 7 over 4. Now I don't need to write the positive, but the answer is just positive 7/4. Now I can write it as 7/4. I can write it as 1 goes into 7 one time, 3 left over, with the present denominator. I can write it as a mixed number. I can also write it as a decimal, 1.75. I take the 3 over 4, I make the house, put the numerator into the division box. I do 4 into 30, goes 7 times, I get 28. I subtract, I get 2, bring down the 0. 5 times is 20. So this is all just long division, but most students in the middle school and high school level, they're going to know that 3/4 is 0.75. So you can use any one of these answers, but most likely your teacher is going to say that 7/4 is good enough, it's reduced, it's correct, and you don't have to do additional steps to get to these other answers. So for this problem, probably 7/4 is going to be just fine. I would accept it in my class. All right, let's do another one. Okay, let's say I have negative 3/8 plus 1/2. All right, here I don't have a common denominator. I have denominators that are not common. So how do I get them to be common? How do I get them to be the same? I ask myself, what numbers do 2 and 8 both fit into evenly? Well, they both go into 8. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 8 goes into 8 1 time. So if they fit into 8, then when I rewrite these denominators, I'm rewriting them so they look the same. I'm not changing the value of the fractions, I'm just changing what they look like. So now the 3/8 or the negative 3/8 is going to look exactly the same. The 1/2 is going to change the way it looks. I'm going to change this value. But how do I get it to look like something 8? Well, I got to multiply the denominator by 4. 2 times 4 is 8. But whatever I do to the denominator, I must do to the top. That's just a rule. So now 1 times 4 is 4. The sign was positive. So now I have negative 3 plus 4. When the signs are different, I subtract, take the sign of larger, so it's 1. So now I get 1/8. And then I'm done. Okay, let's do another one. Two fifths minus 3/4 plus 1/10. All right, so now I got 3 fractions, some positive, some negative. If I look to the left of the 2/5, I don't see anything. That means it's positive. The 3/4 is negative. The 1/10 is positive. So there's going to be, again, using those integer rules, adding and subtracting fractions, signs the same, signs different. But the first thing I got to do is look at the denominators and say I need what's called a common denominator, or in this case, the smallest common denominator, which is called the least common denominator. So the LCD, least common denominator, we have to find it. Now there's sometimes very large numbers here, and there's a certain process or processes to find the LCD. Just take any one that's correct. I'm not going to teach how to find the LCD, you just do it. So I'm going to look at the largest number, 10, and try and work in multiples of 10 and see what's the smallest number that I can pick out of here that all the numbers go into evenly. So do they all go into 10? No. Do they all go into 20? Yes. 5, 4, and 10 all go into 20 evenly. So that's going to be my LCD. That's one way to determine the LCD. All right, so now I rewrite all my fractions with a denominator of 20. I bring down the sign, and I know that that's positive. And now I have to say, well, what do I have to do to each of these fractions to change the look of them to all have a denominator of 20? Well, I got to multiply each fraction by something over something. Let me try and clean this up a little bit. All right, and over here, this was a negative, and this was a positive. So I have to multiply 5 times 4 to get 20, so it's 4 over 4. I have to multiply 4 by 5 over 5. 10, I got to multiply by 2 over 2. So now that I'm showing my work, I'm showing what I'm multiplying each fraction by, now I start changing, or not changing, but rewriting the numerators. 4 times 2 is 8, 5 times 3 is 15, 2 times 1 is 2, and now I got a common denominator. Now I have all the denominators the same, and now I just worry about the numerator. So now I use my integer rules. I might combine the positives, I might group the positives. 8 and 2 is 10, that's a positive 10, and then a negative 15. So now positive 10, negative 15, when the signs are different, subtract, take the sign larger, so it's negative 5. So now I have negative 5, let me make that look like a 5. I have negative 5 over 20. So now if I have negative 5 over 20, from here I just got to simplify. 5 and 20, they're both divisible by 5. So divide by 5, divide by 5. I get 1 over 4. Don't forget the negative. The negative can be written in the middle. It can be written just in the top, or just in the bottom, or just in the middle. I like to keep it in the middle. And then negative 1/4 is my answer. Okay, that's it on adding and subtracting fractions. Thank you.